We are activating your unique self-discovery one show at a time. The Orchard of Wisdom Self-Discovery podcast at your fingertips, just waiting to inspire and invite you in discovering just how awesome you really are and how to navigate through life in joy, enrichment, personal abundance, in mind, body, spirit, heart, and soul. All the people we bring you are here to serve you on your journey of life. Do enjoy our next show. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Ignite Your Heart and Soul right here on selfdiscoverymedia.com. I am your host, Sarah Troy, and my guests all the way from South Africa is Renier Joost and Kathryn Wolf. We have a lot of heart and soul to talk to you about today, igniting that heart, igniting that soul, becoming one. They have a story. The form it takes does not matter. For Renier, it was anger. For Kathryn, it was not good enough. What matters is that what we remember the truth of who we really are, the discovery of who we really are. They say we practice self-love so we can remember to experience the oneness, and in doing so, share it with the world. Love is one. When we forget, life is hard. We fight, we force, we project, we fear, we hurt. We both want our growth and our own healing more than anything else, and we teach self-love to help us remember. In our consistent practice of showing up for ourselves, we remind you of something you already know, but you just forgot. Beautifully written and very, very poignant. Everybody is busy looking for love out there. It starts in here. And until we become the love and exude the love, we can't create the love. So it is all about self-love first, isn't it? Welcome to the show, guys.
Oh, it is so amazing to be here. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
I know I lived in South Africa 42 years ago. It's a long, long time ago, before you guys were even born. And it is a country that is mixed both with turmoil, but also such exuberance and such life in everything, in the music, in the rhythm, in the cultures, in the the nature of it. And I think it's something that we have forgotten as a society, how to tap into what is already there. Who wants to take that one?
What comes to mind as you're speaking is spunk. South Africans really have spunk. Mm-hmm. And I think the story of our nation is really that, going in and that of forgiveness and transcending the hurts and the pain and the darkness inside of us to come out reborn. So it's beautiful to bring the story of South Africa into this.
It's a very beautiful country, again, with so much mixture and so much of its own self-discovery. When I was still there, apartheid was still very strong. It's one of the reasons I left. And even with, apartheid gone now, there's still the confusion. It takes a while for things to kind of find an equilibrium. But if we could focus on the beautiful essence of life, we would find it within ourselves, wouldn't we? We're so busy looking at the strife and what to be angry about. We forget there's so much more to love and be happy about.
Yeah.
Renier?
Yeah, that's definitely been my struggle, was growing up in a place, in a time where there was a whole lot of angry and hurt people around me. And I was like a little boy, all confused, looking at, wow, that's what I want to do when I'm grown up. I want to change that. I want to change people's faces for a living. That's my thing. And as time went by, I learned that I'm going to have to be a plastic surgeon to change people's faces. So it was like, oh, bummer, I can't do that. And as my journey went on and I became more angry and fought against this world, me against the world, standing in my own way, not aware of it, life was hard. Life was tough. It was like, how can this be it? There must be something else. And when I started to study self-development in my early 20s, more than 20 years ago, when I started to study self-discovery, it was all about energy and to understand the energy. So then these people's faces that was so hurt and angry way when I was a little boy made so much sense. It was like, okay, that's how I get to change and work on this. And my mission on self-discovery, on bettering myself, just did not stop from that point on.
And it never will stop, because we're always in that discovery of who are we today with the gifts that we've been given today, or even the challenges that we've been given today. It is always about, I think one of the things that we lose out on, and is when we lose our wonderment, that always wondering what else, where else can I go? What else can I do? Who else can I meet? If we lose that inquisitiveness, that discovery that we want to make in life, we become complacent. And in that complacency, we become blah, or become angry, or God forbid, become nothing, like the Walking Dead. And it's so easy to do that, because if you abstain from your own recovery or your own discovery, there's no one else to blame but you. You can't blame society forever. Sure. Right? And somewhere along the line, you have to take responsibility. If you don't like what's going on out there, or what's going on inside of you, the only person that can change it is you, with the help of others' guidance. But until you make that choice, there's nobody else that can help you. Kathryn?
Yeah, absolutely. It really, as you're speaking, makes me think about how easy it is to get stuck in a rut, and to get stuck in those old conditionings and patterns that basically means we're living in the past.
Yes.
We're not present here in the future. We're not present here in this moment. We're either living in the past or we're living in the future. And with that is the sameness. And that's where we become dull. And it's only where we bring ourselves back into this infinite present moment now that we're able to tap into the wonder and the ignition of life.
Yes. And that's so much more exciting. In your opening statement there, you said you had the anger, Renier, but you had the lack of self-worth. And I believe that a lot of that lack of self-worth comes from this society's dictation of what will make you happy. If you have the big house, the big car, the money in the bank, you're flashy, you've got God knows how many followers, you're popular, that will make you happy. That is the plastic surgery. That is the facade that is out there, because happiness is an inside out job. And the only person that can make you happy is you, when you ignite your own heart and soul.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's exactly what my journey has been about, being good enough, wanting to be good enough for everybody else. And in doing that, I am stuck in everybody else's story. And that is the sameness. That is the rut. And comparing myself to someone who exists already, or something that exists already, is old and redundant. And it adds no value to anybody, at least of all myself.
But you use the word exist. What does that mean? Exist. Don't we want to thrive? Don't we want to be more than just an existence? Do we want to be more than just a survivor? No, I want to be a thriver. I want to be something that whatever's happened to me, it's happened for me. It's shown me my strength. It's shown me my courage. It's shown me my abilities. And the more you're willing to push through and discover how much more you really are, then it's no longer just as an existence. I have this saying, activism is talking about it, actionism is doing something about it. And I think if we could step into actionism and actually be engaged with our lives, engaged with the good days, the bad days, the pain and the joy, be engaged with it, then we truly know that we're plugged in. Not walking around with a cord going, where do I plug this in?
And we plug ourselves in this present moment.
Yes.
We like to make it so damn complicated. And we like to make it that we've got so much to do in the outside world But actually, it's not complicated at all. That plug-in happens here, now, right now. There's nothing else to do. Just put down the stories of the past and the future and be present and answer to whatever that present moment is requiring of us.
Whatever you seed and water today is what will grow tomorrow. If you want a better tomorrow, make sure you're seeding and watering well today with good intentions. Because yes, we want to project a future. And it's not about what I want. It's about who I can be. Who I can be, and what will that mean to society? What will that mean to the world? Because really, we're here to be of service to each other. Right? It is community. And if we can all step up in our essence, and, you know, I do the analogy of the orchestra. Learn and discover what your instrument is. Learn to play it well. Find an orchestra to be a part of and play in your individuality in harmony, that you are going to be harmoniously create a symphony that will resonate with everyone. People don't become droids because suddenly they're a part of an orchestra and they're just being robotic. They're bringing their essence to that orchestra. And that essence is finding a synergy and a harmony that collectively comes together and resonates out. But what is our instrument? And where is our orchestra? That's part of our discovery, isn't it, Renier?
Yeah, so for me, it was definitely my heart. Having gone through this world in the way that I did, my heart was totally closed, and that obviously led me to a closed mind. So it was very narrow-minded, one-way thinking, my way or the highway kind of attitude, and going through that, I had to experience the pain and the hurt and the sadness and the anger of this world for such a long time, that when I got to the point where I was like, okay, I just need to open my heart. Is it really that simple? Is that it? And now being able to show up with an open heart, and also sharing that in a way that changes the face. Like, you see?
You don't need a knife to change the face, right? You just need a different attitude. And an attitude of gratitude, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I don't think we actually look at life and see how much there is to be grateful for. You know, the media, society in itself really loves bitching. You know, everything that's wrong, and there's plenty wrong. But if we're constantly projecting what is wrong, we're going to make people feel hopeless and helpless.
Absolutely.
If we can look at what we can do right and what is right and what to be grateful for in life, we give people the energy and the ignition to maintain that, or to strive to get that, to be a part of that. But we've gone wrong in humanity in the sense of what we've said is important in life, and this constant bombardment of misery. This is not to take away from anyone's misery, but we can't help them if we're empty. We need to be full so we can help and give them our energy for them to ignite their own heart and souls in their own recovery. And if you've got a constant bombardment of misery and no gratitude in there, people just go, well, what's life all about anyway? Why should I bother?
Yeah. Gratitude brings us back to this present moment. Again, what is here now?
Yes.
And I have certainly done gratitude in a way where I have been forcing. So where I want something outside of me to happen, and I'm grateful for that. And that there's a very subtle shift in gratitude.
Yes.
To go from the outside to the inside, to what is here now, to what exists, rather than what I want to happen. And I find when I do that, and just be grateful for the very simple things, not for the things I want, but for the simplicity of what I have now, that really does ignite everything and is a doorway into flow.
You woke up this morning. You got up this morning.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
there are many people that don't, you know, and it's, I have another day of opportunities, of possibilities in front of me. You know, I woke up this morning again with bronchitis for my darling little grandson. But it is, I think that I have the energy to still be able to do the shows, sniffly or not, right? And that it's what we make out of it.
Yeah.
Right. And that really is an attitude. Yeah, Renee?
Yeah, it's definitely life is going to happen around us as far as we go. It's never going to stop. The only difference is how we get to show up within that. Is it in a vibration of acceptance, like your bronchitis, like you showing up, or is it like this whole long story that we have about that's the difference between happening for me and happening to me? You can find the gratitude of your grandson with your bronchitis.
Yes.
So it's happening for you, right?
Yes, exactly. Yes.
It's there. It's like, I'll take it. Give it to me. Thank you.
Yeah. I have him in my arms and I see that beautiful little smiling face and I devour him. And if I end up with bronchitis, so be it. So, right. That I think actually you can only actually see when you've taken the journey so far. If you really are still down in that darkness or in that anger, in that not feeling worthy, you know, what we're talking about is what the hell are they talking about, right? You know, this is like when you're further on your journey, you could be grateful for the negatives that came from the positives. But it's getting people from that 0 point. Now, for the two of you, you had two separate journeys. How did you find each other? Oh, this is a story, is it?
We're both obsessive compulsive personal development enthusiasts. Well, we're. And so we actually met on a course. We met on a course in 2018, and both of our lives were completely different at that point. And we would both walk a journey to get to being together and starting a business together. But yeah, so we initially met on a course, and then it was about a year later where we actually met in person, and I went on a retreat that Renier was doing, and that's really where our journey together properly started, where he asked me the infamous question, but Kathryn, what is good enough for you? You go around looking to be good enough for everyone else outside of you, but what is good enough for you? And that question really stuck me. And yeah, I guess the rest is history.
But you see the beauty of that you were both on your own individual journeys, right? And because you were both on the individual journeys, your vibrations were rising together.
Yeah.
Right. Now, you met once, there was, you know, obviously a connection, but it took that year for the synchronicity of your energies to meet where they could come together. Right.
Yeah.
Because really it is about those energies coming together, kind of locking fingers at both individuals, but there is the you, there is the him, and then there's the us. And when the us is together, that energy projects out even more. But because you were both on the same journey, you were in the same frequency, the same vibe. And so therefore you could see each other for who you really were, and then take the further discovery together with encouragement of each other, which is wonderful.
It's something that we still do for each other, is to see each other, because it's so easy to get caught up in the ego's trap of whatever the ego story is. And when we both forget, when we're both caught up in that ego story, and look, we live together, we work together, we're together all the time. And when we both get caught up in that story, it's not pretty. But when one of us helps the other person to see, when one of us holds the vision of truth for the other, then it is so much easier. And so it is this journey that we take together of helping each other, supporting each other to remember to see ourselves.
Right. Because a lot of people are still buying in fairy tale and they live happily ever after. And, you know, is that there's still going to be potholes in the road. It just doesn't have to be a Grand Canyon. And the more that you get to know and respect and value each other, you know which pothole is going to affect you. And, you know, and someone can just remind you, hey, just a pothole. not the Grand Canyon, where you feel like it's the Grand Canyon at the time, right? And it doesn't become about anger. It doesn't become about blame or shame. It just becomes about support. And, you know, people think that a lot of spirituality or stepping into your own frequency or stepping into the love vibration is still very hippie and kumbaya, and that you're abstaining from life and living in la la land. The true reality, which science is now backing, the real life is actually being engaged and actually being in spirit and actually living on that higher plane. That is where the real life begins. Scientists have begun to measure that now, of people who are living on this higher elevation of energy and love are literally living on a higher frequency where they can make more productiveness than they can on a lower vibration. So science is beginning to understand, hey, this isn't woo-woo. This is actually truth. And the more people that step into this higher energy, the better off we would be as a human society.
And that's why we do what we do for ourselves and then for each other, is because people don't listen. They must be shown. And for us to remind ourselves, we demonstrate to ourselves, and in doing that, we remind everyone around us. So we show everyone around us.
You are the essence that is shown, right? Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. What it is like to be in love.
Yes. And it's not just in love of couple, it's in love with what you represent, of what your journey is, of what you want to do for society. You know, that is the love. People kind of love to take love and pigeonhole it in different areas. Is that when you step into true love, you have a different vibrational love as a couple, but you also have a different vibrational love as partners, business partners. Then you have a different vibrational love that goes out working with clients. It's all of the same energy. It's just hitting different musical notes.
Love is definitely something that is misunderstood a lot.
Very much so.
And I think it's really important to understand that love is not an emotion. Love is a state of being. And so to live in love is not the ego's version of, oh, I'm so gooey-eyed and and all peaches and roses. It's not like that at all. It's a state of being open with one's heart to the highest vibration of energy that exists.
When you can look at a partner and want what is the best for them, and to celebrate them on their journey in life, and to be there for each other, you know, it isn't about, well, I did this for you, so you've got to do this for me, right? It is doing for each other. And it's the same whether you're in couple love or whether in any form of love. You first have to be that love, but then you share that love out with other people because you want to ignite that love in them. You just want to show them where the damn switch is. Switch it on, please. Switch it on. And even when you do switch it on, Renier, right, it doesn't mean the anger is gone immediately. That love has to work its way through its system to override the anger.
I guess it's about asking those difficult questions, like, what is good enough for me? And then after you figure that out, what do I deserve? And then after you figure that out, this is a super important one. Like, how do I see myself? Because if I want to know how the world sees me, it's easy to ask this one and that one, and then all of a sudden live a life according to how they see me. But to actually stop and say, like, okay, how do I see me? And now I'm not talking about this physical appearance. As I'm a man in this body, in this lifetime, here and now, how do I see me? So it's being able to look past that, like an open heart, a loving, kind, caring soul in this moment here and now, either serving or just experiencing. For me to be able to see me like that is what allows me to let this love inside of me, for me, flow. And what Kathryn would say to me when I get to that point where I forget, and it does happen, she would look at me and say, Renier, are you loving to yourself right now? It stops me in my tracks right there. And I'm like, whoa, No. And then I would go to her and I would hug her and I would say, I love me and I'm sorry to me and I love you and I'm sorry to you. And then it's over. Then it's like, move on.
The recognizing where you're at, and instead of defending where you're at, right, which is the big thing, is like, I'm entitled to be mad, right? It's like, oh, shucks, no, God, this energy is not serving me. Thank you for reminding me. Thank you for loving me and showing me the love of self. And now I can get back on that love track of really where the true creativity and productivity is. There is no creation in hate, anger, loathing, cruelty. There is no creation in that serves anyone in any positive way. Right? Yeah. Love is the creation, because it opens up the mind, the heart, the soul, the universe, the channeling of all the wisdom. And it shows you things that you never thought you would ever see or do or be, because you are open to that love vibration. It makes everything possible. So being able to actually say, hey, switch your love button on, right? And then just simply love each other, because a lot of people, when they get angry, defend the anger, right? And that defend the anger, you're going down the rabbit hole, because once you start defending the anger, then you're going to defend the defense of the anger, and it goes on and on and on. And then you've forgotten what the hell you were angry about. You're just simply angry. And look at how much energy that takes up.
Yeah, it's draining. It's life draining. It
is.
Drinking poison, hoping somebody else will die. And
yes,
the more poison you drink, the sicker you get, and everybody else is just happy out there. And yeah, it's a recipe for disaster. Anger is something that it's so closely tied up to irritation and frustration. And there's so many different ways in which it comes out. Like the suppressed anger will explode once in a month, and the rage anger is just shouting and swearing at everybody all the time. So these different levels of anger is really like a coping mechanism that makes the body feel something. And as soon as the body feels that, it's like this adrenaline rush that just takes everything from how it is to something else, and then being stuck in that for such a long time. So being able to see that. So what was also really standing out for me was patterns, everyone's patterns around me. And then obviously aware of my own, but not as I was of the ones outside. And as I started seeing these anger patterns of mine and got to those difficult questions, what is good enough for me? And started to give that attention, like the acknowledgement, saying out loud, this is the thing that has got me feeling like that. And just the acknowledgement is already 90% of the work done, because the next time anything like that shows up, the awareness is there, and it's like, whoa, I can choose another way here. So then the 10% is the taking action of making it different from how it was the previous time.
Yeah, every time is a step in the right direction. You catch yourself doing a misstep, right? And then you correct it. And that's how you reprogram. I say emotions all have their reason. To be happy, to be mad, to be sad, and everything is an indication of how you feel or what's going on around you at the time. But don't become emotional over your emotions.
Well said.
Yeah, well
because
said.
That's where it starts, right? You lose track of why you're emotional in the first place. He's just tapped into the emotion, and then it's like an explosion. Suppression of everything coming up there. You see people also who step into the happiness side of it. Oh, I like being happy. I'm going to maintain myself being happy all the time. What do I need to be happy? And it's just, happiness isn't this pendulum of swing up here and everything down there. It's about an equilibrium. It's about a lovely flow of balance in life. And that's to find that balance and to maintain that balance is so utterly important to our psyche, isn't it?
Yes. It's been so difficult for me to get out of that defensiveness pattern. And recognizing in me this addiction to the drama of the emotion. Like, of course, I don't want to be emotional. Who wants to be emotional? But the truth is that for a very long time, I've had absolutely zero control over being emotional, which is an addiction. So to have the courage to take responsibility for that emotion and not to justify it and not to find someone to blame, even though I can give you 100 reasons why I am angry because of what you did.
Yes, yes. And feel validated on every one of them, right?
Yeah.
I'm a sensitive. So I'm highly in tuned into, people's emotions, people's feelings, as an empath, even what goes on in the world. But it also makes me extremely sensitive to people's reaction to me. And this is something in my old age I've had to work on. Don't take it personally. And I like the Don Runes 4 agreements. Speak your word with integrity. Don't take things personally. It's their issue. You don't need to take it on. Don't assume. Please ask before you make an assumption. And just do your very best, not measured by somebody else, but by your own integrity. Right? 4 simple codes of conduct. And I think if we could find some codes of conduct in our own life that we could live by, then they become our reset point when we find ourselves kind of getting a little out of control, right? We can go back to that reset point because we're going to get pushed out, out of that equilibrium now and again. It's how do you get back in? And that's the techniques that we need to have, the tools that I have. Now, this is the type of thing that you teach people, not only how to tap into their own self-love, but how to maintain that self-love and by being kind to themselves, because you can't love yourself until you're kind to yourself, can you?
No. And those 4 agreements are something that we do work into our work.
Right.
That's so
rules, good.
Right? Your rules.
Yeah. So everybody has got rules, and this was long ago. I was like, okay, so if the government and the army and the police and like everyone's got rules, what are my rules?
Yeah.
I also liked to break rules. I was like, as soon as there are rules, I will break it.
Yeah, exactly.
But when I grew a little bit into it, I was like, okay, but what are mine? And for me, it was honesty and it is respect. So I'm also very, very sensitive and intuitive, and I understand and have studied energy intensively, and so to see and to feel what's going on, I know. And I do have to share with you that it requires a lot of mind to lie. And when people get it right, I'm like looking quite amazed. It's like, well done. But the only people that we are lying to is ourselves. We're not lying to anyone else.
No.
So it's like deceiving ourselves. And my rule was like, for myself, not for people, for myself, is I will be honest with myself and I will have respect for myself. So when people really get close to me and they are going to be in my life close to me, I would express my rules and be like, you know what, you want to be my friend, these are my rules. Do you agree? And if they do agree, I already accept that they are going to slip up. It's like, I will just have the power within me to go and sit in front of them and say, hey, we discussed these rules. You said no problem. Then you do that. That doesn't fit in with the rules. It does not feel nice. And then they would be like, yeah, okay, I lied. I'm sorry. Like, no problem. Like, just don't do it again. But if I did not express my rules, I would just have to walk around with this thing like, these people are lying. So it was just this way of me being able to be in integrity with myself, with my own rules, and then share it with the world outside.
They're your codes of conduct. They're your boundary. I don't believe in borders, but I do believe in boundaries. And, this is my energy field. You're welcome in it with your good vibrations. Absolutely. You bring any of your static in here, I'm sorry, my boundary, it's closed, right?
Yeah.
But it takes a while to get there, to know what your boundary is, how to set your boundary and how to maintain your boundary. And it gets easier and easier as you go older in maintaining that boundary, because quite honestly, you just don't take the BS anymore, right? Yeah. And the people that come to you and that are drawn to you before your energy soon get to learn, in order to get any closer, they've got to clear up their own doodah first, right?
Yes,
And that
absolutely.
if they want to resonate with you on your vibration, they need to raise theirs. Because it's not for us to go down and pull somebody out of a lower vibration. That is their journey in life, right? You can give the hand up, like I can give you a hand up, not a hand out, a hand up. I'm wanting to get out of this, help me, right? And that good intent, I'm going to take you so far for you to stand on your own 2 feet. Here are the skills and the tools, put them in your backpack, it's now your journey, right? We can do that for people, but people expect other people to go and do it for them. It's your life. It's your journey. You've got to discover your purpose, your own signature vibration. No one else can do that for you. And there's no downloadable app or no pill, red pill, blue pill, or any other pill. It is a question of you going through the process of life and being engaged and willing to take the journey. If you're not, then you've forgotten or don't know what you're here for.
Absolutely. And that's why we practice self-love,
Yes.
to remember that and to show each other what that looks like.
The name of your company, I'm going to, hopefully I spell it right. Well, we say it right. Pacarina?
Pacarina, yeah. Pacarina is is an ancient Andes term for an open portal or final resting place. And for us, Pacarina is the light of truth. That is, our business is about oneness. It is about truth, about love. And so anything that we teach and we communicate is all in alignment with that one principle of the portal into the divine.
That orchestra.
Yeah,
right.
I love to orchestra, by the way. I really am going to borrow it.
Go ahead. Because you are really inviting people to bring their instruments to the orchestra and play as one, which means leave your egos, leave all, I'm more superior than that person. I'm more this. No, when you come to the orchestra, you're coming to play your instrument in succinctness, in harmony, to create that piece of resonance.
Yes.
Right. So that is the oneness. It is each of us bringing our instrument into a collective of oneness, of harmony, of being there and resonating it out, an invitation to everyone else. A lot of people think that oneness is, well, I can abstain being myself and just go be a part of a collective, Star Trek, the Borg, right? It isn't about that. It is about you being as abundant as you can be in your own presence, in your own person, so that when you do join that orchestra, you really bring your essence to that orchestra that benefits everyone. So it is to be a part of the one, but you first have to be the one with self.
Yeah, oneness is about recognizing that you need to show up for yourself.
Yes.
Nobody else is going to play your instrument for you. And if you don't play your instruments, then we've got a seat missing in the orchestra.
Yes.
The sound will not be right.
Exactly.
Every single person has their own unique role to play.
Precisely. Every single person on this planet has a role to play. I say that, and there is no hierarchy as far as I'm concerned. I don't care if you're the CEO of a Fortune 500 company. If somebody walks into your business and the hallways are dirty and the toilets are dirty, you immediately have a bad feeling about the company. You walk in and everything is pristine and clean and you've been greeted well, automatically it's set the stage. So your janitor is one of the most important people in your company.
True.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And so I think this is something else that we need to stop doing, is this person's more important than that person, right? Because this person may be more skilled than another person, but take them out of their skilled niche and put them somewhere else, and they could be absolutely, completely lost. That's their instrument. They're skilled in that instrument. That doesn't make that instrument any more important than yours. It's all a question is, where is the skill being used at the time?
Something I learned very early on in my journey was that that I can't look up to anybody or down to anybody. Like, I can see every single one as my equal and be in gratitude of what it is that they are offering, knowing that this law of perception is projection says whatever shows up outside of me, I will find it on the inside. And in the beginning of my journey, it was a lot of angry people. And then it shifted over to a lot of hurt people. And I promise you, as my anger was gone, that was hurt. And then as my hurt was gone, it was not depression, but like people that are wanting to give up. And I was like, why is this here now? And I found that in my social life, I totally gave up. I was just like, no, I'm done with this. And it's my personal and my professional life and my spiritual life, but social was zero. And then as I started giving my social life attention, it was not these depressed people that wanted to give up anymore. So it was really amazing to see how it got to shift and come past. And really what's going on inside here will be presented on the outside there.
You changed your tune.
Yep.
And you invited different people to the party, right? And that's the thing is, there is need of melancholy music. There is need of music that recognizes those that are suffering deeply and darkly. Because if we don't hear their despair, how are we going to help them find the road forward? It's like saying, oh, just get over yourself. No, believe me, I have had some very deep rabbit holes to going down. And I know what depression is like, to the point where I want to check out. And it was always like, there has to be something more. And I realized for me, being in purpose, being in service was my savior. And that if I could start doing for others, I could feel worthy of self. And that became my journey out of my own depression, my own lack of self-worth, my own feeling of what the hell am I doing here? Because it kind of felt like humanity wasn't ready for the spirit yet. But we're seeing such a beautiful change in the spiritual world now, as more and more people are stepping into that beautiful quantum energy, as they're stepping into the essence of who they are. Our blood flows, our energy in our body flows, our oxygen in our body flows, everything around us flows. The wind, the currents, everything has to be in flow. And if we get into depression, or we get into anger, or we get into frustration, we become stagnant. And in that stagnant, there is no flow. That means there is no life or love essence flowing through you. We need that flow, don't we?
Now, when we do that, when we get stuck in our own stories, we're in the density of our ego that is separated. And so I love your story about contribution, because when we step out of our own personal drama and put down the personal nature of that story, and we expand outward, we connect with each other, and we become that oneness that we are. So, and that energizes us, that plugs us into the system, to the flow.
We never know where it's going to start. I would tell you, I've been doing this 10 years now. And 10 years ago, I was at a crossroads in life. I'd literally lost all money I had invested in a company. It had been technology being stolen from us. And it was like, where do I go from here? And I was completely lost, threw me into a depression. And I wrote an article, and I was on social media helping someone else because it was my way out. And somebody saw that and went to my site and said, I think you should be a podcaster. And I go, what's that? And she said, explained what it was and invited me to join her network, which would cost me every month. I didn't have the money. Somebody put the money up for the first month for me. I don't even know how I found the money for the next month, because I couldn't even find money for rent. But I did this for 13 months live. It was one of the best educations I had, of doing it live in the sense of when things go wrong and this and that, but also in realizing how many wonderful people there are out there on the same journey at different stages in life. And then I started my own network in June, 9 years, and 3,000 shows under our belt now. And the people that I've met who have been willing to take the journey, into their own beautiful essence, to be part of that solution that the world needs. And if you told me 11 years ago, you're going to be a podcaster and you're going to, in fact, actually a reader did say to me, in the midst of me doing this technology, you're going to do something online that's going to save lives and go around the world. And I was dealing with an electric motor, a quantum electric motor at the time. And I thought, how does that work? Right? Didn't know the electric motor was going to come to an end and I was going to go on this path. There is a big thing of allow. Don't dictate your journey. Just take the path one step in front of the other in that sense of discovery. I didn't know if I could do this. And believe me, my first show, I pressed all the wrong buttons. Nobody could hear me. It was, it was a complete catastrophe. She said afterwards, do you want to do it again? I go, yes. And then I would have a guest that would drop or I would drop, and it was, as I said, it was a good training ground. But you learn how to think on the fly. You learn how to deal with situations in the moment. And it kind of becomes exciting. And if you told me I was going to do that, I would have talked myself out of it. Right? And it's because it was, what else do I have to lose? That I went into it, and look where I am now. And that's the thing, is we don't know where we're meant to be, but just put the one goddamn foot in front of the other. If there's a possibility or an opportunity in front of you, take it. Well, I don't know if I want to do that. Just do it. It may not be forever. It may lead you to something else, or it may be something that you are absolutely excel at. Just do it. Right? Don't dictate.
Getting out of our own way and into flow.
Yes.
It's so important. And I say that to myself first and foremost.
Yeah. And you have to remind yourself sometimes, because it's very easy, it's very easy if kind of something goes wrong and that negativity comes up and it's the old voice. I mean, I just turn around and say, I deleted you a long time ago, piss off. It's you don't belong here. So that's the thing, is you don't get rid of everything completely. It's still there, but you know how to handle it. You know where to put it now, right? I'm sure you still got some things that bring up the anger now and again. And it's like, it's okay. All right. What am I angry about? Is it really that important? Take some deep breaths, release, let it go. Instead of going down that rabbit hole.
Definitely about making the acknowledgement that there's this thing outside of me that I think is making me feel like this. And as soon as I make the acknowledgement, I can be like, oh, okay, I can let it go. But not making the acknowledgement and just running with that story, it's like straight back into it.
Yes, yes. And it's so easy, isn't it, to get into that story, because when we look at social media, when we look at the media, when we look at the sensationalism of misery and destruction that is constantly being thrown in our face, right? It is so easy to get caught up in the whirlwind and to feel helpless, to feel hopeless, and feel angry. It's so easy to do that because you feel, am I making a difference when so much else is going wrong in the world? But if we put the cameras on the people doing what's right in the world, those that are standing up, the David to the Goliaths, the people that, despite, I had one woman on here, she was beaten over 300 times by her husband. She has metal plates in her face, in her hands, in her feet. Eardrums were burst, beat while she was pregnant. The daughter came out with problems, tried to suffocate the trek on the thing, and never got any justice because he worked for the army and the army protected him, military protected him. And yet she has started a company called Contagious Smile, where she's there for other domestic survivors and about smiling despite what goes on in your life. That is the ultimate courage. And if that inspiration doesn't beget an invitation, I don't know what does, right? Those are the stories when you see people coming out at that extreme and stepping into their beautiful essence. Isn't it illuminating?
Absolutely.
The people that does the greatest work are the people that's gone through the toughest journeys.
Yes. The best teachers as well. The very best teachers, because they understand the pain and the anguish. They understand what you're going through. This is not a dismissal of the anger or the feeling less worthy or the pain that you've gone through, but it's understanding that it wasn't to you, it was for you, and what are you to become because of it?
and to let go of the control of it, like let go of needing it to be in the way that you want it, and accepting what is, and in that transcending it.
Transcending it, it is there for a reason, and sometimes that reason doesn't make sense, and it may never make sense, or you may get through to the other side and go, oh, okay, it was a test of my strength and my courage and my abilities, because would I have taken this path had I not had that test? Right? So,
and the answer is always no.
Right. No, we wouldn't, because we would have talked ourselves out of it. We'd taken an easier route, or the blame game. It's as there's a finger pointing at government and a society, there's three pointing back at us, and we've got to realize we are a part of that society. What are we doing to make a difference?
Yeah.
In our own lives, never mind in the lives of others. You can't help anyone else until you help yourself.
And also the only way to help anyone else is to show up in a way where they can see that something is different. It's like, no, they're not going to listen. It's like, if they cannot see and come to you and say, hey, what are you doing differently? Then it's like, not as if we can run around and say, hey, world, look at this, take yourself up, because nobody cares.
People have to get to that stage where it is, there has to be something more. Will you show me?
Yes.
You can't help them until they ask that question, right?
Yeah, that's the only time when we have somebody that we can help, is when they say, there must be another way, this can't be it, or please help me, I see something different in you and I want it. And then I promise you, it's like a magic wand, because they truly want it. It's not even a long time. Life is going to happen, but they always, because they have experienced the other side, will never be happy or content with what it was before, ever again.
No. You can look back at all the misery that you've come from, and you go, this is something else. I do my own show every week too, and a few weeks ago I did about looking back. You can get stuck sometimes, and you think, have I really gone anywhere? Have I really done anything? Have I really made a difference? And I'd say, turn your eyes backwards. Go and look back from where you came. Go and look about what you've achieved along the way, right? And then just go and do more of the same, right? And it's good to look back and reflect. My God, I was there. Oh God, I never want to go back there again. Look how far I've come. So it is good to look back to see where you are, because it propels you forward.
The ego loves to compare itself to other people, and that's where the whole good enough story comes from.
Yes.
And this was a conversation we had the other day, is comparing yourself to yourself, and only that.
Yes.
And when you remember to do that, it's quite phenomenal to see the progress that you make.
Yeah.
But when we're comparing ourselves to something outside of ourselves, we will never be good enough. It will never be enough. Nothing ever works for us.
No, one size does not fit all. What you are to one person, you will not be to another. I spent 50 years bending myself into a pretzel trying to be what everybody wanted me to be, at the cost of myself, because the only person that pays the price is yourself. Sure. Step into who you are, own who you are, be the wonderful, beautiful person that you are. And if it's not somebody's cup of tea, fine. I'm a good, strong cup of coffee. If you're a coffee drinker, fine, come on over. All right? You can't be everything to everyone, but you must be everything to yourself.
Absolutely. And if you are everything to everyone, you're also not doing them any service.
No.
You might think that you are, but you're not allowing them to step into themselves either.
You're lying to them and to you, right?
Yes.
But essentially, it's a lie. The other word I hate is competition. Competition is for sports. So, if there's a competitive program going on, it's not to compete with other people where they've got this at this age and I should have this at this age. They've just gone and bought a bigger house or bigger car. I should have that, and competing, keeping up with the Joneses. And why? What's lacking in yourself that you feel that you have to compete with other people, right?
Yes. And why do you need to be seen in that way?
Yes. Yes. Right. Yeah.
That was really something very difficult for me to get to, was seeing myself. It is such a bizarre concept to really see yourself. It's not something that we're taught or shown
Yes.
or
No.
spoken about ever. But to really see yourself, not the image that's in the mirror and not the body or whatever this body seems to do. It's the self that is observing all of it, the self beyond that, to see that self. That's really where we step into our uniqueness and to step into love and to step into purpose.
You know, you can look at someone else and think they've got it all. Great body, got this and got that. And believe me, I've interviewed them and found out what they don't have, and the struggles they have been through, and the things that they wish they had. We look at people and we put them on a pedestal and they think they've got it all. No, they haven't. No, they haven't. And they're struggling just as much as us. And God forbid something should go on in their public life, because instead of being there for them, suddenly they've shattered the illusion of what you thought of them, and then you rip them apart and pull them down. How dare you? How dare you? They're just being human. And we've expected something out of them that is unreal, because everybody's on a journey of life. Never look at somebody's skilled success in life to who they are as a person, because very often it can be two different things. The people that have truly become really successful in life by being themselves are really the true people to look up to. Who do you guys look up to?
God. Who do you look up to?
Yeah, I look up to God, but what inspires me in people, if we were to talk about successful people, then the school teacher that loves to teach the kids,
Yes,
that inspires me. The janitor that loves to have his place, that inspires me. So it's not this guy that has achieved all of these things outside of himself, because that means shit.
yes.
The guy that achieved everything out of himself, outside of himself, and he is so humble, like down to earth, like that inspires me. That is what success is for me.
It's the God that shows up within us, right?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I had a pastor on for a while that was a host. I'm going to sneeze. And his show, was The World According to Gus, God, Universe, Spirit. And for me, God, universe, and spirit are the same thing. It's all energy. And people have put them in human form. It doesn't matter what form it is. It's all divine energy. And I've been a channeler all my life and all my past lives. And I came here to ignite heart and souls. That was my job way, way, way back. And it is about that knowingness. And that knowingness is it connects. When your gut, you just know what you know, and you don't know why you know it, but you know it. And that's that divine feeling that then resonates with the heart and truth. And then it goes into the spirit, into action, and your mind knows what it needs to know when it needs to know it. I call that the knowingness. It doesn't matter what knowledge is in your head. When you step into that divine wisdom to understand the knowledge and how to use the knowledge in that moment, that is the divine knowingness. If we could step more into that and trust that, some people call it intuition, gut instincts, it doesn't matter what it is. Allow the divine within you to guide you, and don't let your ego get in the way.
Amen.
Presence.
Yeah.
That's all you're talking about is
Yes.
presence.
Yes. And allowing, just allowing. I mean, from a kid, I was a knowingness person. I would give teachers some wisdom, and they go, how do you know that? Know what? Can you say that again? No. And do you understand what you just said? No. But I was there channeling something they needed to say, hear at the time that they needed to hear it. And I didn't have to understand it, because I was there as that conduit. We're all conduits in some way, with a message to pass on, if we could step outside of the ego and allow that essence of that conduitiveness to come through us, those messages would really resonate out.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So what kind of program do people, and they come to you, what are your programs like? What kind of process do you take them through?
So we have a process that is a combination of both of our own practices and both of our own journeys into self-love. That really is built around the basis of the mind and how the mind works, and undoing the blocks to the awareness of the presence of love within us, to become an inspector and find those blocks and release them, love them, let them go, become aware of them. And so our course is a practice. It's a self-love practice where we get to give you the tools to access your own peace, joy, and happiness inside you through the practice of self-love.
It sounds so simple until people start taking the journey. The more they immerse themselves in the journey, and the more they realize this is actually quite simple. Why didn't I do it before? It's just that we need to be shown, because we're still working on so much ancestry old programming. And that old programming, as you said, investigate, what does this program serve me anymore? Is this program even mine? Does it come from my parents? Does it come from my ancestors? Does it come from society? Is this my choice? Right? And to realize that program is not serving you anymore. Well, what are you going to put in its place? And when you start putting something else in its place that is more serving, that is more wholesome, that is more loving, more kind and considerate, more empowering, it opens up so many other doors to so many other things. But mostly, the one thing that I think everybody is looking for in life, inner peace.
Yeah, so me being so super angry as I was and steamrolling this world as I did, it got to this place where I did not believe that there would be another way. Like, even though I was searching for it, I did not believe it. And when I started to study neuro-linguistic programming, it was one of the amazing tools that really helped me to get to the root cause of the anger, of the fear, of the guilt, of the shame, and letting go of the root cause of what that challenge brings. Yes. It's a whole energy, like a train, like a chain, a whole energy release of just this one emotional state, and then the other. So there's like obviously a whole lot of emotions, and then there's a whole lot of limiting beliefs, and then there's a whole lot of values, and there's a whole lot of habits and behaviors and patterns, and mostly it was not even mine.
Yes.
Mostly it was just what I've been programmed with.
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
And did it serve you? No.
Not even close.
No. Was it your choice? No. Was it showing you all your possibilities? No. Was it opening up any opportunities for you? No. Right? It just had you going around, chasing your tail, doing what everybody else had done before and getting nowhere.
Absolutely. And then also walking around with, like, we have parents, and as we are kids, we get to look at them and sort of have this idea that I don't want to be like this, or I don't want to be like that, or maybe I want to be exactly like this or exactly like that. But the woundings that I have gone through as a child was really, it was so guided. It was exactly what I needed to be who I am today. Exactly. Because it was the total opposite of what I am living and how I am being in this moment. It was totally the opposite. So first I got to experience the negative, and then working my way through to get to the positive, which like concludes this whole deal. It's like having to get from the one side to the other, and then being in this place where, as I show up, I get to share this because I show up for me.
Yes.
And so I also say that I don't work for a living. It's like I get to show up and be me. Like, how
Yes.
amazing is that?
Right. You know, if it's work, you're doing something wrong.
Absolutely.
You know what gets me up with bronchitis to do what I'm doing? Because I love what I'm doing, right? Because I believe in what I'm doing. And when you believe in what you're doing and you really do feel in your entire essence that it's helping someone, even if it's one person at a time, right? It's that meaningful purpose that we're all looking for. What is the meaning of life? Find your purpose and be of service, but come from a place of love, of heart. Because if you're not coming from that heart and that good intent to make somebody else's life better in some way, then you've missed the meaning of life.
Sure.
But the caveat to that is this ego self, this ego self-identity that does not want that to happen, because when that happens, it is no longer there.
Nope, loses its identity.
Yeah. So,
and it needs to lose its identity.
Yeah. So a very big part of our work is the support in that. It's a formula to outsmart the ego, to expose him and all the tricks and pitfalls that he lays out for us so that we can avoid them and step into that purpose that without him is natural for us to step into, but with the ego in the way is impossible.
Yeah.
I can give you one example of that, like one.
Yeah.
So what the ego does is it creates this doubt here in my core. And as this doubt comes up about whatever outside of me, as this doubt comes up, there's this internal conflict. Can I, can't I? Can I, can't I?
Yeah.
And as this internal conflict shows up, my mind is under attack.
Yeah.
Now, if I can stay in that space of doubt, of internal conflict, of mind under attack for 5 minutes, I'll attack the outside world 1, 2, 3, just because that's going to make me feel better.
Yeah.
So that's one of the tricks that the ego gets to put in front of us on a daily basis, 10 times in a day.
100 times in a day.
All you have to do is watch the news. Yeah. It's also not being in a place of complete supreme love and balance and never stepping out into the other world, because you have to acknowledge the other world. You know, there was a monk I had that he takes people into Times Square at its busiest and teaches them meditation. He said, you've got to learn to become the mountain amongst the chaos. And that's the thing, is how can you live in your own peaceful, loving self amongst the chaos and not become part of the chaos, to become the calm in the chaos, even in your own self? That's really the challenge, isn't it?
I really love that. I think I'm going to try that. Because when I meditate and there's noise going on around me, it's like, but I want to go to a place that's quiet and meditate in the quiet, which is not really the purpose of meditation.
No. It is to switch the noise off around you and to go in. You know, I'm a movie maker in my head. So I go off somewhere completely differently to what is going on around me. And, you know, meditation isn't just about switching off and going black. What it is switching off to the outside sphere and going in, wherever in takes you. If it takes you on a beautiful imagination or a journey, go with it. If it takes you into other dimensions, go and explore, right? You're going in and it's opening up so many different other worlds that are lying within you that the outside world doesn't want you to do. So when you switch off the outside world and go into the inside world, you suddenly find yourself in places that, well, being in your body, you know, that are wonderful. Dimensional traveling is wonderful. It's really, I'll come back and yes, I went there, and I go, hang on, that's not this lifetime or not this body. You know, that was a different one. But we have sold ourselves short for so long as human beings that all we are is this something in this blob of a vessel. All right. And that we are this beautiful quantum energy of love that wants to burst out of us. But when we align it with the sensories of touch, taste, feel, being able to hold someone in that love, it is a gift to us. And if we can combine those two gifts together, we're unstoppable.
Yeah.
So to join you, where did they go? How do they sign up? What's the length of the time of the process?
So the course is 12 weeks, so 90 days. But we actually, because the support part is so important, we actually support you for another 9 months. So it's actually 12 months, but the intensive part of it is 3 months, 90 days. And to connect with us, you can go to our website, pakarina.life. So that's PAQARINA.life, LIFE. Otherwise, connect with us on Facebook. We are really active on Facebook, and we've got a group called Self-Love Practices for Empowered Women. And connect with us there, or send us a DM. And
what would the Facebook connection be?
So you can, our Facebook group is Self-Love
Practices.
Self-Love Practices, yeah. The full name is Self-Love Practices for Empowered Women, but I think the slug is just Self-Love Practices.
And of course, Instagram is Pakarina Life as well, and you also have a YouTube channel.
Yes, we have a YouTube channel too. So again, pakarina.life. That's our name. You can find us across all social media platforms like that.
Now, you're in South Africa, and you do work with obviously a lot of South Africans, but it doesn't matter where people are from.
We actually don't work with a lot of South Africans anymore. We very much internationally are online. We're online. Right. And
so it doesn't matter where you are.
Australia to New Zealand to America to the UK to Jamaica to Norway to we're global.
Good. Love is all. It really is the answer to everything. When you step into love and that higher frequency of love, that love of self, the way you see everything else around you, you see it through love. You see pain through love, understanding, compassion, everything through the love. And to get to that state of seeing the love in everything is where we want people to be. Because when they see that and they become that, they really become part of the world's solution. The world is on a teeter-totter right now. We are seeing the scales change of people stepping into that beautiful quantum spiritual love, that essence of being, of the different priorities of understanding. But there is the resistance on this side of people wanting to go backwards in time, the wars, the anger, the ego, the everything else. And they know their time is coming to an end, that they have to change or be left behind. And so this is why there is this absolute global panic of, of trying to hold on to something that, even though it's not serving them, it's all they know, it's all they want to know. But there is more and more of the teaching of the other side of stepping into love. It may be corny, there's a trillion songs about love out there, but love really is all. The self-love, the love you give others, the love state and vibration that you live in, it is the healing source, it is the communication, it is the collectiveness, it is the creativeness, it is God's essence. And really, that's where we want people to be, isn't it?
There is a beautiful Course in Miracles quote that says, when you want only love, you will see nothing else.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And there is something really beautiful. Like I was down at my daughter's, and she has this big window, and she has a water thing there, and all the hummingbirds coming up. And I was outside with my grandson, and the hummingbird came within a few inches of us, flapping its wings. And then a couple of birds laid a nest in their little awning there, and we're watching the babies being fed. And it's those beautiful, simple things of life that just show you how beautiful life really is. Stop looking for it over there. It's here, and it's all around us. Pay attention, right? Pay attention. Be present. Thank you so much. Yeah, yes. And it doesn't matter who you are, where you are, what you're from, whatever your journey is, being anyone, anywhere, at any time can take this journey. And it's actually imperative that they do, right?
Love is our destiny. When will you choose it?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Well, I'm glad that you two both took your own individual love journey and found each other along the way, because obviously you were both strong individually, but coming together obviously has ignited a different form of energy that exudes out even more. Keep up the wonderful loving work, because we do need to have more and more people, and people want to. They want to step into love. A lot of it is, I don't know how. How do I break free from this old patterning? And they say it takes 8 positives to undo 1 negative. Repetition, 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 right? Find
We
something
know
to
how.
love.
Come talk to us. Come talk to us. We have a formula to make it easy, because it doesn't need to be difficult. You don't have to go through the dark nights of the soul.
Right.
You just need to want it.
Yes.
So sometimes we've got to get pushed into that dark night to really remember that we want it. But as that quote said, when you want nothing else, when you want nothing but love, you will see nothing else. So it can be easy. It doesn't have to be hard.
Right. And you can go from a very angry person who wants to punch someone out into a loving person who goes, anger, you have no place with me anymore, right?
Exactly.
Totally free.
Totally free. And doesn't it feel, don't you feel inside of you, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just when you're in anger or anguish, there's a density in your stomach the whole time, like a knot. And when you step into that love and that freedom, it's just like you're almost, you can feel the essence of love, which is just like fresh air, you know, just so freeing, right? And you're just, everything about you feels that. And it's just such a better feeling. It really is. So come on, folks, come and dip into the love pool. They're here to help you. It's Peregrina Life .life. So PAQARINA.life. Reach out to them. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. Let them help you take this step. Remember, our cell structure changes every 3 months. So actually changing our patterning in that 3 months along with our cell structure is actually the way the mind works. And then they're still there for you for another 9 months after that in support. You're not alone going through this. You never will be alone. But you do need the help and the guidance to get the skills and the tools to put in your own backpack of life. So reach out to them. They're there to help. Thank you so much, guys. It's been wonderful having you here.
It's been wonderful to be here, Sarah. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the light work that you do and the love that you share. And we'll sure talk to you again.
Yes.
So much gratitude and more. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
My
Sarah.
pleasure. My pleasure. Let's just keep the love going. Until next time, folks. Bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. Find all of our shows on selfdiscoverymedia.com under podcasts or selfdiscoverymedia/shows. And for all our current shows, go to What's New. We are supported by you, the audience. You'll see a nice big shiny blue button for one-time donations, or follow us on Patreon and you will be able to support us there. We enjoy bringing you such wisdom. And the next show will be up in just a moment.